Hi everyone, this is the Final Bosman, and on today's show, I'm going to talk about power.
Power. Power. Power. Power. Power.
Let's get started. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and this week I'm feeling a lot better than last week. I'm in a much better mood. Forgive grumpy Kyle, who you saw last week. He wears glasses and has an ear infection and is generally in a bad mood. This week I'm in a good mood. Good things are happening. I can hear out of both ears. And Valve is dropping some bombs this week. So I guess I should explain that this show has the unfortunate predisposition of recording on Monday mornings and then going live on Wednesday mornings, which normally isn't too bad. This week, pretty bad, because Valve has said, we are announcing 3 huge things for Steam this week. We're gonna make the world bigger. And when Valve says that, all of our imaginations explode. And it's like, oh, is it a new console? It's Half-Life 3, right? It's Half-Life 3. And so we're all there. And so Monday, the Steam OS was announced, and I'd love to talk about it, but I think it's almost gonna be old news by the time this episode airs. You've already heard their second announcement. Is it the console? Tell me, did you just see the Valve announcement for a console? Who knows? So I'm going to ignore all that for 1 week. I promise we'll talk about it next week. But until then, there's just only speculation on this show, so forget it until then. And I'm jealous of you in the future. You already know, look at you. And just looking back at me with your smug smile. You're like, I know, and I'm just back here in the past. So anyway, because I can't talk about Valve and its Steam announcements, I thought this week might be a good week to talk about power. Because the console wars are happening and fighting each other. The PlayStation, the Xbox, who will survive? Because that's all happening right now, and lately, a kind of interesting thing is the PlayStation 4 is kind of being recognized as more powerful. We've already knew it was. I mean, the specs have been out since E3. Edge very recently published an article kind of plainly stating the facts, and through anonymous sources, I mean they are anonymous, some developers who are just willing to say, hey, the PlayStation 4 is faster. I think at this point we kind of have to consider it a fact that the PlayStation 4 is a more powerful machine, speaking in a hardware sense. That should just be it, right? Shouldn't we just all get a PS4 and forget about the Xbox One? I mean, a lot of people that is enough, but there still are a lot of people who want Xbox Ones. They want that inferior console. And so that's kind of today's question, is how important a more powerful hardware is in this whole console war and console race. Because if you take GTA 5, a very recent example, for example, if you look at a Digital Foundry article of Eurogamer, they did a direct comparison, a direct analysis of the PS3 version and the Xbox 360 version of GTA 5. And found that while they're very, 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 very close, that should be mentioned first and foremost. These games are like, they're here on this level. Digital Foundry found that the PS3 version is slightly superior. They're right there. And that's like irrelevant because the Xbox 360 version will still sell much better. This is why we're not those robots who like the superior version. And to say it's a superior version, yeah, kind of, I mean, technically. I think if you got the Xbox 360 version, you didn't get the wrong one. You didn't make a mistake. This is what I mean. I mean that, you know, we're not all robots. We don't just go with what is technically superior. And so that's kind of what today's list is about. It's about those other things that make a console powerful. Not just powerful in a processing sense, but powerful as a force of nature. This console is powerful, you know, that kind of way. Here are my top 3 other things that make a console powerful. The first other thing that makes a console powerful is games.
Games!
I realize that sounds stupid and simple, but that's exactly what it is. It is stupid and simple, and I don't think it's stressed enough how important games are. Yes, Need for Speed Rivals might be marginally better on the PlayStation 4 than the Xbox One. And that is a big deal, that should be noted. And in fact, probably all cross-platform games will be better on the PlayStation 4. That is enormous. However, a good game that is unique to a platform is enough to sway a person, is enough to make a console more powerful. What I mean by this is next year, Smash Bros. Will be on Wii U. when that game is released, the Wii U will become a more powerful device. And as not just it can do more, but as a source of influence over this industry, as a sort of thing that people want, an object of desire. Games are always important, and they lead to more people making more games, which kind of leads to number 2. The second other thing that makes a console powerful is sales. Not in terms of like, oh, this thing's on sale, it's cheap now, honey. No, I mean unit sales. The more a console sells, the more it's out there, the more influence it has. And this is sort of funny in relation to the first point, in that it's hard to get a console started because it's hard to have great games if you don't already have a lot of sales. And it's hard to get a lot of sales without already having great games. And so it's hard to get this jump started, but once you do, they just lead into each other. It's like, oh, I got a lot of sales, so I gotta make a game for that console. And so, oh, I got all these games, all these people wanna buy more of these consoles to play those games. So take, for example, Monster Hunter 4, which in the US means very little to anyone, but in Japan is an enormous deal. Monster Hunter 4 could have been released on any console, but the 3DS is the largest selling video game machine right now. And so like, it's pretty simple for Capcom. They're like, hey, we should make Monster Hunter 4 for the 3DS, and that's how we'll sell the most, and it worked. It sold, I think, over 2 million copies in 2 days because it was on the 3DS, and because the 3DS had those sales, the 3DS is now a powerful console. Third and final other thing that makes a console powerful is public perception.
Public perception.
And I realize that this is the weirdest one. This is the weird point. But the way that we perceive a console leads a lot into how powerful it can be. This is just in its commercials. If you remember just like Nintendo and Sega, you know, it's just like, oh, mine has blast processing. Well, mine is more powerful because I'm playing with power, and I think mode 7 is the term. The way that a console is cooler than the other can lead to how powerful it can be and how desired it is. So the Xbox One has a public perception problem right now. There are fewer Xbox One pre-orders in the US than there are PlayStation 4. A year ago, I would say that's crazy. The US loves our Xboxes. We love that thing. But a string of bad press conferences and decisions have led to this public perception that the Xbox One is bad and the PS4 is good. Whether that's, you know, your personal opinion or not, that is the public perception. And that leads into how powerful a console is perceived to be. And part of that is our weird tendency to want to personify companies. We call them by their names as if they're people, just like, hey, Microsoft, listen up. I want my money back. It's like, hey, Sony. I mean, I do this all the time. Sony, what are you doing? You're so stupid, Sony. Nintendo, wise up. Fix the eShop. We all do that. It's so weird. But that is part of our perception of these companies and therefore the consoles. And it is strange how much I don't think we think about this, but the public perception leads a great deal into how powerful a console can be. If we're not on board, if your console isn't cool, it can never succeed, which is a strange thing. And that is the list for this week. Message mostly being that the hardware in a console, it should not be the most important thing about it. If you are a PS4 fan and you're like wagging your finger at Xbox One fans saying my console is more powerful than yours, stop that. Just get a PC if that's what you're gonna brag about. Because like, that's like you and a friend talking about whose car is better. You're like, oh, my car is better. And then Jay Leno shows up. He's like, hey, I got a few cars. I'm like, all right, you win, Jay Leno. PC always wins. It's always gonna be more powerful in that hardware sense. Shoot, with Valve's announcements, it's all gonna change, isn't it? It's all gonna be so weird. Everyone, next gen is huge. This is gonna be crazy. Everything is gonna change. But that is the episode for this week. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I will be here next week. I'm gonna talk about what Valve just talked about, and I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Bless you. Wonder what that was about.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
So me, Damiani, Brandon, all the guys, we got together, we had a car wash. We got you these $3,000 so you can get a bigger desk.
Oh my goodness. That is so stupid of you. Every last one. You know what? Everyone in this office is a garbage butt. And you know what else? Skyrim is for idiots. And Super Mario Bros. Is sexist.
I like saving the princess.
You're a sexist scumbag, Elise.
Why do you say these hurtful, hurtful things?
Nothing. Get. What? Get.